Hi everyone, welcome to BurgBoys. I'm Max.
I'm Terrence.
And this is your weekly dive into the most interesting news with our reaction and take on what's happening. So Terrence, how are you today? How are you this week?
Actually, we've been increasing our frequency of our chats.
Correct. Because there's so much to talk about, no?
Yeah, I think recently there's a lot more interesting news. Markets also going crazy.
Something interesting, however, I felt was, you told me today you visited some clinic, right?
I don't think I would like to talk about it.
Okay. Okay, we skip that for another time.
So,
Yep.
you know, despite all the market volatility,
Yeah.
let's put that aside. What do you
Sure.
think, how would you feel if someone today offered you $1 trillion in salary?
Firstly, I think I don't deserve it. Number two, I'll gladly still take it. that's my stance on it.
How life-changing do you think that is?
It doesn't even change just my life. It changes at least 6-7 generations after me also. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we always talk about inflation of money, right? But that 1 trillion is going to last you a while, man. You know
I
what I'm saying?
think from some countries, it's 6th generation of the entire country.
Exactly. And I don't like...
1 trillion is like twice of Singapore's GDP.
Exactly, right? So think about it. Put it into relative scale, right? You can change the entire country's fate.
Okay, so,
Yeah, so-
basically, Elon Musk got
Yep.
his salary plan signed off by the board already. US.
So what is his current plan? How does it look like?
So, okay, of course, there's a milestone thing, right? There's performance targets for him to hit to get this US 1 trillion. So it's obviously milestone based. So it depends on like a couple of factors. So one is the market cap. So the market cap obviously have to grow, right? 2 trillion, and eventually the final one's 8.5 trillion.
Wow.
So that would be almost 9 times Tesla's current market cap.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Right, so that's one thing. The other also, it's all the operational goals, right? He needs to hit the driverless vehicles, humanoid robots, and all that really exciting technology. Like, you can only imagine how the world would change
Correct.
if all these operational goals land. And also, to be fair, you know, these are not things that will happen tomorrow as well. And also, it requires many years of dedication to get there. But still, it doesn't take away. This is quite fairly controversial, right? You see all the big institutions coming in and say that they will vote no.
Yeah.
Some say they will vote yes.
Yeah.
So there are definitely the proponents and the detractors.
Correct.
But generally, on a personal level, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about this 1 trillion paycheck? And is anyone, do you think, ever worth 1 trillion?
I don't know if anyone is ever worth 1 trillion because maybe currently my scope of people I meet, I mean, I don't think anyone is worth...
he's one of one.
Yeah, he's really one of one, right? So, I mean, because of that, there is this potential that he's worth 1 trillion. I mean, the amount of value he brings in terms of economic growth, manufacturing jobs, all of these kind of things, right? Think about it. Is it not worth at least some billion?
I think he's worth as much as the team, whoever owns the company is willing to pay. So that's one. And to be fair, the problems that he solved, it's going to bring up so much economic value.
Correct.
Right? Like some of this, let's say today, you can imagine with humanoid robots, you know, how much labor unlocked.
Yep.
It's going to drive driverless cars, you know, how many on the roads, you know, how much less labor we need.
Agree. But sorry, I also think, right, that, you know, when they align his pay structure to these kind of business corporate milestones, right, I mean, also, I think everybody understands this idea, but it also incentivizes him to work in the interest of, you know, the shareholders in general, right? So
Correct.
he's kind of, his own wealth is tied to his own performance.
But
so.
he's not the first founder.
Yep.
He's not the very first founder who's obviously setting up a company, but you see like Jeff Bezos or that, you know, a lot of them, they take a nominal salary.
Yep.
So he's clearly more money motivated than a lot of the
Can tell.
founders, right? I mean, clearly he wants control, he wants power. I mean, that's the reason why he's so involved in some of the politics also over the last election as well.
Agreed.
And so I think I'm aligned to you. I think is shocking the amount because of course, you know, 1 trillion is almost like, say, two years of our GDP, right?
It's an insane thing to consider.
But I think if anyone can solve for robo-taxis, humanoid robots, you know, taking a company to 9-10 trillion, which honestly is larger than... Now, if you get a company to 9 trillion, 10 trillion, it's twice the ASEAN GDP.
That's insane.
Southeast Asia GDP.
Oh my goodness.
So the continent with a few 100 million people...
Correct.
The size of the company is twice that. So it's definitely a very ambitious goal, but it also goes to show the scale of money that's flowing in today's world, right? How money aggregates to the top.
Yeah. And in your view, you know, are there any kind of downsides to this? Like, ethically, do you think, like, you know, this wealth gap, obviously this is like a huge this will drive some kind of inequality, right? I mean, how do you...
Of course, you definitely see that, right? I mean, if all the wealth is aggregated at the top and only the ultra wealthy, because the shareholders, firstly, the employees are going to benefit the most, right? So, for example, Nvidia's recent run to 5 trillion, there was an article that said that the average employee now is worth 20 million. They hold average 20 million on Nvidia stock.
Oh, crazy.
So imagine if you live in a community, like, in the US, right?
Yeah.
People tend to stay near where they work, right?
Yep.
And so imagine the community and you are local there and suddenly all these Nvidia employees are worth 20 million. You can imagine the housing what kind of chaos you'll do to the housing price.
Correct. Like what kind of effect to the outside?
The wealth effect, right? And of course that will price some people out. There will be some social problems for sure.
Agree.
And if there are companies out there that are now worth more than entire nations, at some point in time, people who work for such exclusive companies, the top 5, top 10 companies, they are going to be extremely more wealthy than
anybody else.
So it's almost like a different kind of social construct, right?
True.
But I always feel like I always feel that society somewhat is a reflection of that. I mean, in the past it was like the bankers who took a lot of money. But now it's obviously the tech guys who aggregate all the wealth. But the biggest difference now is that it's the scale, the magnitude is so much greater.
Just thinking forward a bit, right? I'm also quite curious. Let's say hypothetically he hits this goal of 8.5 trillion. What's next? Like, what is the next thing that he will do, or the board will ask him to do, or how will this change dynamics between him?
No, but this is not the first time. I think the previous one he hit already.
Yep.
But I think down the line, he's if he hits is maybe, I mean, if he's still young enough, he still has the energy. He's probably going to say he want to, I don't know, make the robots even greater, and whatever. And then it's going to be like, can I take my company to 100 trillion? I mean, I think the numbers are always unfathomable. You cannot sort of process large numbers, right? So, back then, maybe 10, 15 years ago, we think 1 trillion companies like such a far-fetched thing.
It is.
Now, we are at a situation where your companies are worth $5 trillion, right? Who is to say that 10 years, 15 years time, there won't be a company that's worth 20, 25 trillion?
Exactly. And to me, I think what shocks me the most also is how fast this change has occurred also. I think over the past, I think in 2012, 2013, there was it was half 500 billion, I don't know, right? And then now it's rapidly now 5 trillion. I don't know. For me, I think how people would feel is that they will definitely feel some kind of unfairness, because I think, like we discussed earlier, the value that Musk provides, right, that he grows with his team, his trusted advisors, right? Okay. I don't think everybody will feel.
Okay, maybe let's also take a step back on this, right? Like, let's take it at the individual level, like us as at that level, right? Like, think about it, right? While all these companies are being worth more and more trillions, right? The market cap obviously are now at a number that's so hard to fathom, right? Like we say larger than countries' entire GDP, right?
Correct.
How do you feel about your own salary not really rising? Being fairly stagnant? Because for most people, right, who don't earn equity, we earn like some sort of like a base salary and a bonus, right? Your salary technically does not scale with like the wealth effect of the market rising.
Correct.
Because you are stuck with the P&L thing, right? Well, because let's say today you have equity, it's a market multiple, right?
Yep.
You can expand against earnings, you can, right? So in the end, the stock price can go up to whatever levels you can hit.
Agree.
But how do you feel about it? Like, do you think that should people now try to be in industries whereby you get access to equity?
I think the way to play this game optimally, right, is to have some kind of compensation model that is not linear, right?
Yes.
So it's like more like, so if you get some equity you get some kind of stock vested schedule, whatever, it's more exponential in that kind of growth. I mean, it could be, it could not be, but at least you know that the game you're playing is not flat,
Yeah.
So I think that's very important, because if you ask me right now, as someone that takes a base salary and a standard bonus, when I hear this kind of news, I feel like I'm losing,
Correct.
losing in that sense where like, hey, look, everyone else is getting this much. I'm not accruing any of the value.
Yeah. Because when you have equity also, it allows them to tap the capital markets, right? They can raise money at crazy multiple and then fuel the growth even more quickly.
Exactly.
And then in the end, whatever equity you own is going to be worth a lot more.
Correct.
Versus like if you earn linearly as a salary. And I think it seems like that's the model to go to. It seems that people who have access to the opportunities to work for such firms, I would highly encourage.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, it depends on your own personal ambition as well. But I think that you see just the size of these large technology companies, and you look at the next generation ones, how quickly they have grown to 100 billion market cap.
Yep.
It's incredible. Like every generation is hitting more and more quickly 100 billion. Look at OpenAI is like fastest to ever hit 1 trillion.
Correct.
We're in a span of a few years.
I remember back then the VC market, people said unicorns were a dime a dozen. I don't even think that's the case in the next 5 years. I think this high valuation also changes that scale for the startups and everything.
And think about it, even when you say a unicorn is a dime a dozen, the threshold for what's a unicorn is also now so much higher.
Exactly.
Let's say, to be honest, how many companies out there you say 5 billion market cap?
Yeah.
I mean, we are living in Singapore whereby perhaps, it's rarer.
Yeah.
But 5 billion market cap, you have a long list of companies.
Long list of companies. You just search online, you get one list, you know what I'm saying? I think also, that's why, okay, sorry not to mention this, but if you work in a crypto firm also, if they pay you in, crypto, it's also an asymmetric
Let's
upside.
not talk about crypto. Crypto just annoys me. Okay, so maybe let's tap on the final. Let's try to wrap it up in terms of the mental model, right?
Yeah.
So, how should we think about all these high salaries of all these large founders?
I think what you said earlier was a very good takeaway. I think number one, the first mental model is you have to change how you're earning money in this environment now. I think that's mental model one. Is like you have to understand that you cannot play linearly, right? You have to kind of find opportunities that give you asymmetric growth. I think that's number one. What else do you have in mind?
I think it's exactly what you said, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it's also more critical than ever to, even if today you don't have not everyone obviously have the caliber, two, luck,
Yep.
or maybe even the situation enabled to be working for such firms, right? But I think these days people have access to the markets, so you definitely can, even if you're not working for them, you can also make sure that you have investments in these spaces as well, so that you benefit from the upside as well.
Be exposed to it.
Because clearly, I mean, for them, I mean, they are hugely incentivized to get to those numbers.
Correct.
And if you truly believe that he's going to get there, it's a 9x return, no?
9x return.
Yeah. I mean, I'm personally not an investor in Tesla. I used to be.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
I'm also not. Disclaimer. But anyway, Terence, what would you do with 1 trillion? How would you spend it? Just curious. What are you going to do?
I might buy up some companies in Singapore.
I mean, you could, the GDP.
I think you see, I think that's the reason why we will never have 1 trillion also. Because I'll probably disappear.
I will disappear also. We just buy some small island.
Yeah.
Just chill, buy a few jets, buy a few yachts,
A few some more.
Yeah, a few. If you don't have to go to one, you can buy a few and enjoy, can rotate.
But I think it's unfathomable.
Unfathomable,
So I think that's it. I think there is a short one. It's just interesting news to react to.
Yep. I think it was also quite important to kind of discuss how this is affecting us on a personal level, right? As corporate white collar workers and stuff. Yeah.
So what are you gonna do for the rest of Fridays?
So today I'm gonna go training, and then we'll head home. Chill weekend, taking a cleanse. Yeah.
It says cleanse. How many times have you drank this week?
Not enough. Alright guys, I think that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and subscribe. Bye bye.
Bye bye.